Alright, so what we're going to be doing today is take you through some banded hip distractions. So a lot of times if hips get compressed or hips feel tight, what happens is that because we're moving around a lot, because we're walking a lot, we actually get compression in the hip. Now what we actually want to do is actually get the hip socket, pull it out a little bit, and then get a stretch. So basically remove the compression and help the hip actually feel a bit of a stretch in it. So what I'm going to do today, I've set a band up here, so I've just attached this to a stable spot. So we're using a dumbbell rack, but it can be any type of pole or anchored spot. Band, nice thick band, wrap it around, go through the loop, pull it through, and then from this position, I'm going to get Beck to lay on her back on the floor. And this one can be done by yourself at home. Right? You want to grab the band and you put the leg in the band, the one that's closest to the anchor point. From here, Beck's going to pull this band right up to the top of her hip here. Okay, so right up near the head of the femur. From here, Beck's going to slide out a little bit to the side there until we get some tension in the band. So we just want enough tension that we actually, over time, what's going to happen is that where the hip socket sits here is actually going to get a bit of a stretch out this way. That's what's going to happen there. So Beck, come on a little bit further out to the side. From this position, we want Beck to go into a 90-90 glute stretch. So we bring the leg just over here like this and just go up into that position there. So now she's holding that stretch, right? Whilst the band is applying tension, pulling her hip socket out this way here. So what's going to happen now, as we start to leave it over some time, Beck can grab her leg here, pull it up and get a bit of a stretch on her glutes. Pulling that in nice and tight whilst the band is pulling out from the femur here, she actually starts to get a movement around and start to get a bit of a stretch around this way through here. We're going to be holding this and doing this for about, I would say about 40 seconds to a minute, allowing that tension to pull as you get the stretch. Now what this is going to do is actually give a lot more range in the hip so you can get a lot more mobility and a lot more range of motion through that rather than just trying to jam into a hip stretch the whole time. Okay, so spend about 10 more seconds. Fantastic, and you relax that there, bring it back down. You can let it sit here for a little bit of time if you just want a little bit extra. If not, you just take it out there, relax. And so from here we can come up, once we've done the stretching mobility, we come up, turn around to here, and we're going to get back to 90-90 sort of stretch position, which has got one leg forwards at 90 degrees, the other leg back at 90 degrees, and from here we're just going to alternate through and get some mobility into the hip section here. So you can see actually Beck's actually pushing out through her hip. So once we've had the femoral head come out a little bit, got a bit of a stretch through it, now we want to mobilize the hip so the body remembers this position. It's very much about the nervous system response to the hip and the muscles around the hip. So from here, Becky may spend about 30-40 seconds once again, and then come back up and go for a bit of a walk, and she should find that her hip is a lot looser than it would be just going into a hip stretch. So that's our banded hip distractions. Can be done on both sides. Really, really effective. All you need is a band and an anchor spot and you should be fantastic.